Okay, welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. You are here for the Anger Whisperer podcast. I'm not sure what episode we're at. I believe, I believe this is episode number 14. It's crazy because I never thought we'd make it this far. So, anyway, here we are at episode number 14, and this one is going to be about. Hold on. I want to make sure that I get the titles right because we're so close with the other things that we do. So this is going to tie into the 7 mistakes made in anger, which we're going to have as our next live on YouTube, our masterclass on the 19th. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on that. It'll be Wednesday the 19th at 5 o'clock, and that masterclass is called The 7 Mistakes Made in Anger and How to Avoid Them. All right, and so today our podcast is actually, I can't find the name of it. You know, you have these things that you're doing and you know what it is that you're going to do, but I don't remember the title that I wrote down. Hang on one second. I will find it. How does this happen? Hope you guys like our new digs. I love this new studio. Okay, here we go. The moment you lose control, what really happens when anger wins? Okay, and I know that we're up close and personal today. I'm ready for my, what do they say? I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. So you'll see me looking down, and I want to make sure that you guys understand that I do digress, and so I try to make sure that I'm looking at my outline so that we don't have that issue. All right, so before I begin, I do want to make sure that we're clear on everything. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Shawnnyce Nutt, the Anger Whisperer. For those who do, welcome back. And this is for our podcast scheduled every Thursday at 6 o'clock. So I am glad to see you guys. It was originally scheduled at 2, but who schedules something at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday? Didn't think that all the way through. And so we moved it to 6. So now, hopefully, we'll have more people who can join us. That was when I had 2 subscribers. So I think we're doing better now, and I think we're all on track for everybody to be able to watch it. And again, it's at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There, I got it all out. All right, so the first part of this, we're going to talk about when anger wins, peace generally pays the price. Because if you're in this for a fight or you're looking for to have the argument, to win the argument instead of resolving and understand what's going on, that is when anger becomes a problem. So to be honest, though, nobody wants to lose control. We don't wake up and say, today I'm going to ruin my whole day with rage. Well, unless you're like somebody I know and they choose violence every day. I'm not going to name any names, but we want to make sure that we are choosing peace on a regular basis because nobody wants to go through the day with rage. It takes energy to be angry. And I didn't realize how much energy it took to be angry until I wasn't anymore. It is a job to keep anger in the forefront. Remember, anger is just a security guard emotion. But if you stay with it, if you keep it in the forefront of everything you do, your body stays in that fight or flight status all day long. And that's a difficult thing to maintain. So make sure that you understand that we are trying not to be there. Try to choose peace over anger. All right, when anger wins, 3 things always lose. Clarity, because your brain stops listening and starts defending. So you know when you've had a conversation with somebody and they bring something up that you may not like, you immediately go into defense mode. And so instead of listening to them with any kind of clarity or empathy or anything like that, you're just listening for the opportunity to jump in and prove your point and say, you know, some kind of way that you one-up them and made it better. So your brain, again, stops listening and starts defending. You go into defensive mode. You lose connection because the people that you love start protecting themselves because then they're like, wait a minute. Now you're coming at me, coming in hot. So we got to make sure that you don't lose those things. So clarity, a connection, because people are going to protect themselves from you. And then credibility, because with every single outburst that you have, it chips away at your influence and your self-respect. Nobody wants to deal with the hothead, or if they're trying to get a point across or trying to say something or trying to have a conversation with you. and you're on the defensive, then usually the conversation doesn't go well. And if you've ever walked away from a conversation thinking, oh man, I didn't even mean to say that. That probably wasn't directed towards me. That's not a weakness. It's just untrained emotion. You got to look out for those things. It's your body reacting before your mind has had a chance to choose peace. And this is the other reason that I always say take a pause before you say something. So before you respond, before you react, make sure that you actually take a pause, take a beat, think about what is happening with that other person. I had a funny conversation with a daughter of mine today, my little girl, and she was telling me something that happened in a store and how the lady was being not necessarily rude to her, but I told her, I said, this probably didn't have anything to do with you. It was an older lady. She may have been comparing her to maybe a grandchild. I'm not really sure, but it didn't have anything to do with her. And sometimes we take things personally, like, oh my goodness, I used to say it all the time. I'm guilty of it because I'd be like, hey, they know me? Where do you know me from? Why are you going in on me like this? But really, it's not personal. Maybe that person was having a bad day, which I'm assuming that lady who was dealing with her was just having a really difficult time before she got there, and she just happened to be the next customer to walk in. And so she did not get the full attention that she deserved in the way that she deserved it. So remember, like Don Miguel Ruiz says, don't take things personal. And oh my goodness, side point, I tell you, I do digress. But I was looking on Amazon today, and my book is mentioned in the same line with Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 Agreements. Side note for what cheese? What, commercial time? Okay. What cheese is mentioned in the same line with his book. I never would have thought that I'd be on the same line as Don Miguel Ruiz and his 4 Agreements. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. Okay, so again, if you've ever walked from a conversation thinking you didn't mean to say that, it's your body reacting before your mind has a chance to choose peace. So remember to use that pause. That's something that we're going to unpack on November 19th, on Wednesday, November 19th. So how to retain that reaction, because when peace becomes your default, power follows. It's a whole different thing. When you get into it and you understand that you don't have to say the first thing that pops into your mind, sometimes it's better to let that thought just process and keep going. And then after you've had a chance to think about it, then you can respond and nobody's feelings will get hurt and you'll be able to express what you want to say clearly. All right. So the next part of this is the anatomy of losing control. Because this is what happens. Let's break this down scientifically for a second. And I know I've said this before, and I usually get this word wrong. Amygdala. The moment you feel anger rise, your amygdala, your amygdala. Amygdala. Thank you very much. Amygdala. Your emotional alarm system goes off, and it floods your system with adrenaline and cortisol. How'd you know that? You just know it? Amygdala. Okay. I'm never going to forget it now. Amygdala. Like the little girl when I was in the bakery, and I said, how do you pronounce this bread? Cholla. And she said, holla. And I was like, I'm never going to forget that. Holla bread. Anyway, okay. Amygdala. Anyway, that is your emotional alarm system, and it goes off when anger starts to rise. It floods your system with the adrenaline and cortisol I spoke about. Your heart rate spikes, your breathing changes, I swear to God, your breathing changes, and logic gets blurry. So you know what happens. You recognize when you get mad. I used to work with children a lot, and I would ask them, what happens when you get mad? What do you recognize? What do you feel first? And I had a little boy who, my fist ball up. I feel it because before I even realize it, my hands will be at my side. Next thing I know, they'll be in fist because your body is getting ready for a fight that probably isn't even coming. So when you get upset, when I get angry, I know it's almost too late when the room starts to heat up. So when I'm starting to feel warm, not when I'm, having one of those flashes, but when the room starts to heat up for any other reason, then I understand that it's probably too late and I need to take a break and take a step back and step out of the room because it's starting to heat up. So recognize what those things are, how your the chemicals in your body change, and cause those additional reactions. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that helps you think, reason, and plan, basically takes a short vacation. It kind of goes out the window. We call that the lizard brain taking over, or the monkey brain. Jeff Benoit talks about the monkey brain. And again, it's something that is our base, like our instinct. When the fight and flight comes up, or fight or flight comes up, that's when that side of your brain takes over. So make sure that you pay attention and you're aware of those things. That's why we say things that we regret. We slam doors that we don't mean to slam, or shut down completely. I used to tell the people that I was dealing with when we were doing domestic violence, when I was teaching those classes, take your time outs. Got to take time outs. You guys do too. Take a pause. So all of those things that I say. But when you do take your pause, don't walk out, slam the door, and cuss at somebody. That's not a good way to start your time out. So you want to make sure that you're calm when you do those things. Sometimes when you allow yourself to get upset, they happen without you even realizing it. So it's not that you're a bad person. It's not that you're even having a bad moment. It's just that your brain's chemistry is hijacking your peace. And that's why it's so important to be able to take a pause, take a breather, take a beat before we react to things. All right. So in the masterclass, that's going to happen again on Wednesday. It's like a commercial. Wednesday at 5 Pacific Standard Time. Have I been saying 6? I think I have. So Wednesday at 5 Pacific Standard Time on the 19th, that is when we're doing the masterclass, and I'll be walking you through a peace reset. How to bring your brain back online before the explosion happens in the first place. That way, you don't have to worry about losing your peace. Peace isn't passive, it's power under control. And then that's what real emotional intelligence actually looks like. So taking a pause is not a bad thing. It just means that sometimes we need to take a breather. All right. So these are the 7 mistakes that people make in anger. And I'm going to go through these with you. I'm going to have to look down and read these out because I won't remember all 7 of them. Usually I can remember 2. But we'll get sidetracked. I'll digress, and then there'll be a whole other set of things. So, all right. This is going to be a preview of the full thing that we'll cover on the 19th. So the 7 common mistakes that people make when anger wins, and what you can start doing differently right now so that you can avoid those things happening. So a lot of times we react from emotion instead of intention. And people do that all the time. We all do it. When your emotion takes over, you let the feeling lead instead of the goal. You lose sight of what it is that you wanted to say in the first place. And the fix for that, you fix it by pausing, breathe, and ask, what outcome do I actually want? Did I bring those pause cards with me? I'm on camera. Can you grab that? Okay, so we're going to look and see it. But one of the things that I do, and one of the things that I've done for the kids that I work with, too, is we came up with these little cards that we would hand out. You're moving the light with you, too. And on those cards, it gives you a minute you have to pause, first of all, when you're digging and looking for it. So keep it in your pocket, keep it in your wallet, somewhere where you know where it is, and you can take the time to be able to pull it up. So I think there's some directly in there. There's the pause and the Beatitudes, these are the Beatitudes. Oh, no. Yeah, this is the Beatitudes. Oh, there's the pause. Okay, so here we go. So we have, thank you guys for your help there. This is why I have technical teams and departments. All right, so, and Tisha, my daughter who's helping me, who's off camera, was my IT department for several years, and now Joanna is like the IT and everything else all combined. So, all right, this is the pause card. So, pause stands for placing yourself in the shoes of the one you're angry with. Always ask for the other party's time, deal with one underlying issue at a time, talk about solutions, claim victory. But it gives you the benefit of pulling that out, looking at it and saying, wait a minute, let me just take a second. Let me take a beat and take a pause. All right. And so when we're doing that, make sure that you are asking yourself, what is the outcome that you actually want? What is it that I want to happen, that I want to see come out of this? Is it more important to me that I'm right, or more important to me that this relationship gets saved? And whoever it is that you're talking to, Relationship with a coworker, relationship with a family, relationship with friends, relationship with your partner doesn't necessarily have to be intimate. It's just somebody that you have a relationship with. And is that relationship more important to you than winning that particular argument? All right. The second part is that we take things personal. As I mentioned before, they don't know you most of the time. And usually it's something that's happening with them. It doesn't have anything to do with you. When you take things personally, you observe someone else's pain and wear it like it's yours. And it's not. Don't take ownership of something that doesn't belong to you. So you can fix it by remembering their behavior actually reflects them and not you. Okay? Because it could be an issue that they're having, and here you are taking it on. Now, while I have these cards out, I do want to talk about this other one. This is the Beatitudes card. On the back of it, it says, be kind to yourself above all others. Be free. Aspire for more freedom with each passing moment. Be free of false beliefs, free of the things that you held on to in your past. Be silent and allow a moment for reflection and tranquility to bloom. That is the Beatitudes. And this is the back. Camera moment, Vanna White moment. There we go. All right. Okay. The other thing is, the third thing here is avoiding hard conversations. Well, let's go back to taking it personal. Remember to fix it by remembering that their behavior reflects them and not you. So the first problem, reacting from emotion instead of intention. Don't let the feeling lead instead of the goal. Fix it by pausing, breathe, ask what outcome do you actually want. The second is taking it personal. You absorb someone else's pain and wear it like it's your own. Fix it by remembering their behavior reflects them and not you. The third thing is avoiding hard conversations. Sometimes you think silence equals peace, but it really equals suppression. So oftentimes when you shut down, you don't give the other person the opportunity to even discover what's going on or what pain you're going through or anything that's happening with you. The way to fix that is by scheduling clarity. Calm doesn't mean quiet. You can set an appointment. Like, I know this is not a good time for us to discuss this right now because things are heated, and I'm not really in any mood to discuss things with you calmly. So if we schedule a time, maybe tomorrow after lunch, we can sit down and have this conversation, and it'll be better served for both of us. So just make sure that you schedule that appointment out with your partner. It makes a huge difference. Or with whoever you're having the discussion with. The fourth one here is making assumptions. You feel when you make an assumption, well, okay, so we all know what happens when you assume. You make an ass out of you and me. So that is absolutely true. And you want to make sure that you don't fill in the blanks with fear instead of facts. That's what happens when we assume. You want to fix it by choosing connection over control. So ask some questions. Don't make assumptions. Ask what's going on. Why are they feeling the way that they are? Let them know maybe you happen to be feeling attacked or whatever is going on. And you can ask them what is happening with them right now. Get some clarity. And you can ask, like, fix it with curiosity. Can you clarify what you meant by that? What did you mean by that statement? Because I took it to mean this. And you'll be surprised by how easy it is just to fix a problem by finding out exactly what someone meant. All right, let's see. Chasing power instead of peace is the fifth one. You fight to be right instead of fighting for resolution. That's not something that anybody wants to do. So we all do it, though, whether we mean to or not. Instead of listening for clarity or any of those things, you just want to be right. You don't care about the outcome of the problem in the first place. You just want to be right in your position, and that is a recipe for disaster. So you fix it by choosing connection over control. There's no need to constantly be right, to consistently be the one who's right. Never says anything wrong. It's not how it goes. It's not how the world works. All right, holding on after the heat is the sixth one. So the problem is you replay the conflict over and over. You rehearse the pain, and you relive. I can't talk today. Let me start that again. You replay the conflict, you rehearse the pain, and you relive the stress. And while those things are happening, you're unable to calm down. You get yourself even more upset. You're worked up, you're bothered, you're putting yourself into a stressful situation by repeating those thoughts over and over again. The way that you fix it is by releasing. So write it down, breathe it out, or talk it through. And if you're not ready to talk it through at that time, you can write it down. Use some journaling. Get it from this place out to on the paper. And that will generally help fix that problem and release some of that heat. All right. And then the seventh thing here is not having a formula in the first place. You hope that your emotions will manage themselves. that does not work. You have to have a plan in advance on how these things work. Like, anger is a bodyguard emotion. So if it comes up and you don't even understand why it's happening, but you react out in anger, then it's not going to help anybody or serve anyone. So you have to have a plan in advance for these things. I talked to some of my clients about having a peace treaty. Thich Nhat Hanh, who is somebody else, a mindfulness preacher, he's not a preacher. He is a mindfulness teacher, is what I meant to say. And one of the things that he used to talk about is having a peace treaty planning in advance. Conflict happens, arguments happen. People in relationships, even perfect relationships, have conflict, because conflict is not a bad thing. But what you want to do is plan for that ahead of time. So you write out a peace treaty while everybody's calm, and you let the person that you're in the relationship with know, this is what we're going to use moving forward if we happen to have an argument. You can do it with your families. You can do it with people that you're close to, but you let them know when things come up. If I'm the one who's caused you anger, or if you're the one who's caused me anger, we're going to have a peace treaty to talk about that so that we can quash the fire before it even gets started, and we'll be able to discuss it at a later time. And I can let you know these are the things that are happening, because you need to have a plan. And you fix it with structure. The peace formula: conflict times reaction minus emotion equals peace. That's what I'll teach you live next Wednesday, the 19th, because you learn this equation. Once you learn this equation, you can use it anywhere. So it can be used in your marriage, at work, in life, in your meetings, or in your mirror. I mean, wherever you happen to need it the most, you'd be able to have it handy. All right, so we're going to go through those 7 things again, just so we can make sure that we're all on track. So the first one is reacting from emotion instead of intention, letting your feelings lead instead of the goal. You fix it by pausing, breathing, taking that beat, and asking what the outcome is that you actually want. The second one is taking it personal. The way that you fix it is by remembering their behavior reflects them and not you. The third thing is avoiding hard conversations. Fix that by scheduling clarity. Calm doesn't mean quiet. And you just want to make sure that you set an appointment and let them know exactly what you think and find out exactly what they're thinking. When you're making assumptions, you want to make sure that you fix that with curiosity. Can you clarify what you meant by that? Just ask a question. Chasing power instead of peace. You don't always have to be right. You fix it by choosing connection over control. Number 6, holding on after the heat. Let it go. Fix it by releasing. Write it down, breathe it out, or talk it through. And that way you can release that thought and don't have to keep having it go in a circle. And not having a formula, you fix it with structure. Use the peace formula. Conflict times reaction minus emotion equals peace. So those are those 7 things. All right. And now I want to pause here, because some of the ones that are listening here are carrying some shame. It happens when you get upset, when you react out in anger, then you suffer through guilt and shame because of the things that you've said. You can't take them back. You can't unsay them. You may have lost jobs, relationships, or trust because anger got the best of you. And I get it. Those things happen. It happens to the best of us. That's why I built the Anger Whisperer, because I've been there too. You have to have a system where you'll be able to stop those things before it happens. So here's the truth. Your reactions don't define you. Your recovery does. And what we want to do is stop these things at a level of 1 or 2 before they get to the 9 and 10 when you say things that you don't mean. The moment you choose to understand your anger instead of defend it, healing starts. And that's what makes peace possible for us. You can't change what you don't confront. So during this week, I want to make sure that you notice the moment before, like that split second before you react. Recognize what your triggers are, understand them for what they are, recognize them, and don't let them get the best of you. That's your power window. Recognize right before those things happen. And then you'll know what to do. You can pause and you don't have to say the things that will hurt someone's feelings or the ones that you will struggle to be able to take back. All right. So, if this episode spoke to you and you're tired of being misunderstood, misjudged, or misrepresented because of anger, then join me live next Wednesday night at 5 Pacific Standard Time for the 7 mistakes made in anger and how to avoid them. All right. The next time anger shows up, you'll be ready, not reactive. You'll respond with power and not pain, and that's how you move from triggered to triumphant. So make sure that you join me next week. Remember, find me where you go, click the link, stay in the know.